Good morning. It's a beautiful, overcast, raining morning. There's only a slight drizzle in the air. It feels good. And I've already ranged pretty far from my house, but I'm just going to keep walking. I don't usually come up this far, but you guys have seen it a few times in my morning walks. I love this old fence with the lichen on it. There's the far side of that new farm that's built about a half mile from where I live. And so we're just going to walk. We're just going to walk and we're going to talk about things that, I don't know, they're not really about politics or anything directly, but things that have been on my mind lately. I'm thinking about death, but not because I'm scared of not existing. I'm scared of what happens before and around death, especially not my own death. People in my family, my circle of friends, my loved ones that live here in my little Appalachian Shire. And, oh, look at them. There's 2 golden retrievers over there. They're so sweet. What good dogs. So, I'll make sure to show off the Shire over here as we walk, because I don't hardly ever come over this way. Only a couple times ever, I think, in my morning walk history, if I've ever been this far. But anyway, we'll just keep talking. So, I worry about things now that I'm older. Oh, is there somebody coming behind me? It's awful early for that. I think there might be. Yep, there is. Let me walk over here on the side of the road. Okay, I made a cut there because there were several noisy vehicles at once, and I just had to stand here. So, there's a little bit of a cut here in this one. Anyway, I want to talk about my beliefs, I guess, around life and purpose and death and stuff, because I think about that now that I'm older. My best friend husband guy is not going to live forever. He probably won't live longer than I do, than I might. And my mother and his father are certainly not going to live longer than us, probably, because they're into their 70s and they're boomers who like their soda and their fast food and don't really exercise. So they're not long for this world. And it's not that I'm financially worried. I'm not. I have land and 2 homes and you know, a pittance of money. I'll be okay when it comes to having a place to live, having money to eat. Like, I'm not worried about any of that stuff. What worries me, though, is feeling alone. I'm confronted by how deracinated I actually am and how deracinated the experience is here, as opposed to how I was taught it was supposed to be 45 years ago when I was a little kid. So let's look over here. Beautiful Appalachian Shire in every direction. I'm very thankful to be from here. And my family was thankful to be from here, and they taught me about this area. They taught me about the Port of Kings. They taught me about what went into making Morristown. They taught me about the different important engagements and personnel and movements of troops of the War of Northern Aggression. They taught me a lot of stuff about what makes this area special. They taught me a lot of stuff about Christianity, too. And I didn't get taught anything about other aspects of faith and belief of European people. I was taught that everything that wasn't exactly what I was taught was evil and wrong, which I don't agree with. I don't think that's right. I've never liked that. Different strokes for different folks and all that. And I don't know if it's because I have a touch of the tism or whatever, but ever since I was a little kid, I knew that the peoples around the world were all very different. So why would one religion be what all of them liked, what all of them wanted? That aspect of belief has never worked for me. But, all right, let's have a look. There's a reason I don't usually walk out this far, because it's just farm country. But it's really pretty farm country. It's real nice. We'll leave that be for now and keep walking. So, what do I even want to talk about today, really? I'm sorry I'm meandering, but it's been bothering me lately thinking about what it will be like in 20 or 30 years when everyone I love and know is dead. And I have nobody and no kids. And I lament how modernity has taken from me what I thought I would have. Because when I was little, it was the very beginning of the Reagan administration, early 1980s. Everybody around me went to the same school, watched the same TV, hung out at each other's houses. The parents, the aunts and the uncles, we were connected to each other all the time. I saw aunts and uncles and cousins and grandmas and granddads and in-laws of my parents all the time. At each other's houses, hanging out and grilling, playing with the kids outside. And then by the time I was in my 20s, it was like all of that just evaporated. It was like somebody left the lid off of this area and everything just sort of dried out. That's what it feels like anyway. Because in my hedonistic years where I was confused and selfish and just partying and doing drugs and not caring about anything other than trying to get world experiences and just going out and taking road trips and doing drugs and going to raves and just all this dumb shit that I wasted like 6 or 7 years of my life on. I wish I hadn't have done all that. I wish I would have stayed here and tried to be invested, because in that period of time, from like the late 90s to the late aughts, everything about my community and family and friend group evaporated and went away. Out of all the cousins and people around my age, less than half of them are even married. And more than half of them moved away from this area and they're never coming back. Like, that's not good. And while this area still is pretty based, and I look around and there's, people have Jesus crosses, whether you think that's based or not. People have little American flags, Trump flags, Gadsden flags, rebel flags. People around here are still pretty based, and we have an identity that is our own, that we like. But there just aren't many young people. And I go and I ask people around here, there are no community events. All of the little lodges and community party stuff and all that, and that all stopped in the 90s and early aughts. They haven't done any type of community exercise or community building in 20 years. None. Not that I can find out about anyway, around here. Like when I was a kid, we used to have little hayride things where the kids would get on the back of trucks with hay bales. We'd drive around a field, there'd be 30 or 40 of us. Parents would come. That stuff doesn't really happen here anymore. And the 2 private Christian schools, one of the ones I went to, they shut down a long time ago in the 90s. Now there's only public schools here. I couldn't even find a private school within 30 miles of this area anymore. It's gone. There's a whole bunch of homeschool groups though. That's a good sign. But anyway, let's stop here and have a look. Man, there's so much I wanted to talk about today. I've barely scratched the surface. This might be a really long video, but I got a lot on my mind. Well, look how beautiful it is over here, see? But it's just kind of boring, so I tend not to come this far, but it sure is pretty. Old farmhouses, new farmhouses. And back over this way, of course. More of the same. See, it truly is a beautiful area where I live. And it just goes on and on like this for another 20 or 30 miles until you hit the mountains on the way to North Carolina. So, it's a nice place here. It's really nice. I like it. I love that cool mist on my face. It's one of my favorite times of year is when it's still cool, but it's warmed up just enough to where it's not frigid, and you get that cool mist on your face when you go walking. I love that. All right, but anyway, I have my picnic this Saturday. There's only 5 or 6 people coming. And out of all my family members and all the cousins that I still try to talk to, only a handful of them have kids. So I have, I don't know, in this area, I think 6 nieces and nephews. And outside of this area, maybe 11 total. But I don't even know them. I barely know the ones that live in this area. Because one of my cousins who has 3 kids is kind of no count. And I never really liked him, and he never really liked me, and he's kind of a piece of shit. So I've never gone out of my way to like be friends of his or anything. So I don't really know those people, even though they live close here. And then all the other cousins and people I like, well, I know one nephew and one niece, because those responsible, hardworking white people, they only wanted to have one kid. And she lives about an hour's drive away near a larger city. It's just, man, I've been rambling a lot. This is going to be a long, stupid video. But I'm trying to get out some stuff here that's hard to talk about. Like, on the one hand, I'm very lucky and feel blessed to live in such a great area and still have a family. But I feel like it's like we're all already dead and we don't know it. Because I visit aunts and uncles, some of them in their 60s and 70s. Some of them are dead already, they'd be even older, but like the father of my favorite cousin I talk about sometimes. He's in his 70s now, just barely. I think he's 71. And the way he talks about America and the way he talks about what was, it's like he's already talking about a dead civilization. And the people that are in my family, I asked them, hey, let's have a get together. And it's like I'm asking them to do the impossible. And when I talked to that aforementioned uncle and his wife, my aunt died a long time ago, it's a new woman. But when I talked to both of them for a few minutes the other day about why they don't want to do stuff, she just said, well, nobody wants to anymore. And then my uncle nodded and he's like, yeah, the kids haven't wanted to do anything, meaning people my age, 40s. He said the kids haven't wanted to do anything in 20 years. So we just, we look after ourselves and stay at home. And that's the story I get from everybody. It's the story I get from my mother. It's the story I get from my cousins. I'm going to cross the street because there's a vehicle coming again. And so it makes me feel like my area, my beautiful, wonderful area that I think is just a picture perfect area, is already dead and doesn't know it. Because I can drive 15, 20 minutes in any direction, and I get to little townships, little cities that have Section 8 housing, that have government buildings, that have corporate presence. And I see the cancer, I see the death coming to this area. This area is still great. Like I said, I've looked into the local churches and local schools here. Didn't find a lick of anti-whiteism, didn't find a lick of Marxism, none of that stuff. Like, it still is pretty good here. All the teachers and stuff and staff were white, local people. So it seems pretty good here still, but for how long? And now we get to the part where I personally worry. All that stuff was kind of just a meandering lead up to me talking about beliefs and God and religion and stuff. Like, I cannot believe in things that I can't really see without very, very good reason. Things like gravity, thermodynamics. A lot of people that are smarter than I am about certain subjects have agreed on those things for a long, long time. I can read about their experiments. I can read about what they've done. And so it's more reasonable for me to believe in things like gravity than it is to believe in like Vishnu or Yahweh. Because that's just what people say, and they point at books that have been around for a long, long time. So while I was raised Christian, went to a Christian school, know a lot about Christianity, I like a lot about Christianity. I don't really believe in it. And you all know this about me. So when I think about death and suffering, I don't really think about it through a, well, this is God's punishment type of way. I don't really think about it like that. I worry that in the state of how things are, I see it in the faces of my loved ones that they don't want to live. They feel like they're already dead and there's nothing to live for. And that's weird. Because my mother's super Jesus-y, super Christian, and she's dark-minded like that. Everybody that is my age and older that I talk to in my personal friend and family group, they have this darkness to them. This ugly thing that looms over them whenever I try to talk to them about anything important or serious. I see it in their faces. I hear it in their words that they are scared and that they know oblivion is coming. And I don't think that it necessarily just means they're going to die. I think it means that the society, the culture, the community that they thought they were supposed to have has either been a lie or destroyed in front of them while we've been alive the last 40 years. Vehicles coming, give me a moment. Awful early for there to be so many vehicles out here. That's weird, because it's still pretty early. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, right. I think that so many of the people that I talk to in my personal friend and family group, they're worried because they feel like we're already dead. That there's nothing to live for, that there's nothing to care about here in this world anymore. And that eats at me, because I want people to be hopeful. I want people to invest and to make change and to fight against this evil, encroaching anti-white beast, this evil force that's coming to erode and consume everything. But when I try to talk about it to the people in my life, it's like they believe it's already won. Whether they say so directly or not. Some of them do. Most of them don't. They just seem like, it's like this defeatist attitude of, well, times change and, you know, our way of life is dead now and it's time to just let it go and pass on the torch. And I'm just like, no, you fight. You fight to keep your people alive and your way of life alive. I don't know what it is, man. So anyway, that's been getting me down lately, because not only do I not want to be alone, I don't have kids of my own. I only talk to a few of my nieces and nephews, and I rarely do. They barely know me. People know who I am in my family, but nobody does much together. I try. I'd like it to be like it was 25, 30 years ago, where we all know each other and talk all the time and hang out and do stuff. I feel like that's how we're supposed to live. And you guys know on my channel I've bitched a long time about the nuclear family in the 1950s and all that. That's not the American ideal. That was the American communism sold to us by FDR and government, big government, socialist and corporate marketing, that wanted us all to be individual integers in their big line go up equation in this Keynesian nightmare we're all forced to live in. No, we're not supposed to be that way. And yet, how was I and everybody else in America raised? Bootstrapping, selfish individualist. Have your own palace. Make your own vacations. Make your own future. If you have kids, have 1 or 2 kids. And then train them to be the same corporate drone you are. And then kick them out the door to college so the government can program them to be whatever they need for the next cycle. That's what we've been for 80 or 90 years in America. That's not normal. It's not how we're supposed to be. And I suffer for that, because that finally hit my area when I was growing up. The deracination, the destruction of multi-generational households, the destruction of real community happened in my area in front of my face, and I watched it as I grew up. There's a car coming, so we'll pause here to enjoy the view. I really do love this farm in this area. Oh wow, there's another car coming. I wonder why. Normally it's nowhere near this busy in the morning at this time out here. I guess it's just Mondays. So anyway, this is what I think about that bothers me a lot. I watched my area become this sort of serene, empty heaven in the last 20 years. When in the 20 years before that, it was full of life, full of children, full of families, grandparents, aunts, and uncles who were busily active with each other's lives. And I go looking for that at church groups. I've been to 3 churches in the last year on my own. Do you know what I found? All old people. No families, no kids. And I ask, do you have a Sunday school? Well, we did. We don't anymore, because there's like 2 kids. And again, I'm not saying that Christianity is the way, it's just that's what's around here, right? I like Asatru. I would like to have other options, but, you know, it is what it is. I grew up Christian, that's all I know. So, what do I believe in? That's kind of what I wanted to preface all this with. Oh, this wind feels so good. Oh my God. I love the wind. Well, we're back to familiar territory here. I know it's been a while. This is going to be a very long morning walk. But man, it sure is gorgeous. The wind has definitely picked up. You can probably hear it hitting the microphone. So anyway, what do I believe in? I think I believe in good and evil. I think I believe that there is, like gravity, like light, I think that there is a destructive force and a creative force. Or at least it seems to be the case. There's another car coming. I'm across the road. Okay, it turned in. Very good, very good. I think that there is a good, positive, creative force and an evil, destructive, entropic force. And I am very worried that the entropic evil force has delivered a lethal blow to my personal area here, and it will never recover. And that I am going to be old, wanting to see goodness and positivity and creativity, and I will see the opposite of that the rest of my life. And the weight of being a real child of winter has been weighing on me heavily. I have tried for years to create community and make something happen in my area, and it isn't. I talk to other people and nothing is happening in this area where I'm from. And I worry. I worry a lot because this area is still based and has a lot of positive traits, and I see families with children here. But they're not networking, they're not organizing that I can find anyway. I can't find anything. But like I said, homeschool numbers are through the roof in this area, so that's a good sign. But it's a personal worry for me. I worry about feeling alone and watching my loved ones die and not knowing what to tell them because I am so estranged from them already. They have not followed me on this journey of awareness and exploration into why everything is a lie and why we've been lied to. They haven't followed me. I don't have good emotional, sympathetic rapport with the people I'm supposed to the most. I feel like I have grown and changed and they have not. And I feel like I've mentioned before on other videos, it's like I'm playing make-believe, or I have a character sheet I have to play with them just to engage with the people that live in my life. Like my family, my mother, husband, etc. Like, it's like who I am and what I've grown to be just doesn't interface with them properly. And I have to pretend like I'm the me from 20 years ago. Or they just look at me confused and not want to have anything to do with me. How much worse is that going to get as I watch everyone I know and love die? And what will that feel like? What will it feel like? What will I do? These are the things I worry about. I don't sleep well anymore because I worry about this shit all the time. There's a friendly dog coming. Perhaps he sensed my sadness. I'll just comfortably walk this way. Hopefully I won't bother him. So, I was going to walk up the hill, but there's a dog, so if I ignore him, he might go away. He is super, super friendly, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that right now. Anyway, so as much as I can say that I believe in the supernatural, I do think there's a good force and an evil force. And there's also a loud vehicle coming. I don't know exactly what it is that I wanted to get out today. I don't really know, but I wanted to talk about my beliefs and my sadness, and maybe try to make some sense of it, because I think we'll wrap it up right here. This is a good place to stand. It has a good view. I know you guys have seen it a million times, but I love this view here. Where the old barn used to be, where the newer barn, it still is. This rich, beautiful field. Horses, the old pond down there. It's a beautiful place. I'm thankful to be from here still, despite how bad it's gotten, despite how empty it feels. It's like I live in a beautiful library and most of the books are gone and the custodians barely show up anymore. And I just worry, who's going to come take this place over? What are they going to do to my beautiful homeland? What are they going to do with it? What are they going to do with me and the few of us who still live here? And I worry that I'll be too old and weak to do anything about it. And that bothers me. Bothers me in a way that I've never felt bothered in my life before. I waited for that vehicle because it was kind of loud. So I suppose we'll just wrap it up here. I wish that I was a spirit. I wish I didn't have a mortal coil anymore. I'm tired of the worries that come with that. I wish that I could just be a dryad or a spirit that just lives in the nature. It just makes my peace with shit and lets everything go. I'm tired of being alive and having to think and feel about all this stuff that nobody around here thinks or cares about, seemingly. That I bear these burdens alone and nobody in my personal life cares or even wants to talk about it. And when I try to force them to talk about it, they look at me like I'm crazy or I'm the bad person. But I really worry about all this shit all the time, every day. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of feeling like this is the burden that I have to wake up and go to bed with every day. I wish it wasn't so. But that's my lot in life, I think. Anyway. There's one car coming, and after that I'll wrap it up here. Let's just appreciate the view here till that car passes, I reckon. Alright, there it goes. Well, that's it. I've talked about what I believe in, what I'm hopeful for, and what I worry about. And it didn't make it any better. I want there to be a better future for my people. But my people here don't seem to want that. That's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that puts me in a weird, ugly place to try to save people who don't want saving. To try to protect a place that doesn't want to exist. It's a weird thing to care and to realize how few other people care. And it puts me in a weird place. Anyway, I assume we'll be having an Empire of Lies or Gulag Cafe this Thursday because Chris seems to be feeling better. And this Saturday I have my picnic, and I'll make a little video about that. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and if there's anything that you know that you think would help me wrap my head around this stuff and feel better about things, or anything that you think you could help me with, let me know in the comments or something. Because I'm tired of feeling this way. And going to bed with and waking up with this burden and never being happy. Never feeling safe or content. Never feeling like I can relax. I'm tired of that. I want it to go away. I want to heal. I want to have some vision of positivity for my area that I love and the people that I love and grew up with. I just don't know how I can. Anyway, I hope you all have a blessed week. Thanks for listening for so long. And I'll see you next time.